Sports! The show that you know and love is back. Sports on another level comes to you. And on this episode, we're going to talk about a DUI issue, violence on a Pee Wee League field, and upon further review, we're going to touch on saying goodbye to Game 163. I am your man. That is Cole Johnson, the tour guide of Cole Sports. And now it is time to go to the headlines. We'll begin with the NBA. In efforts to encourage fans to vote, the NBA decided to not hold any games on Election Day on November 8th of this year. Now, the schedule has all teams playing all 30 teams playing games, so it's 15 games. Everybody's playing on the 7th. Nobody's playing the 8th. Now, it's understandable that the NBA is being forward-thinking and all, but this is what the league had to say about doing such a thing. Quote, the scheduling decision came out of the NBA family's focus on promoting nonpartisan civic engagement and encouraging fans to make a plan to vote during midterm elections. Close quote. Now, the issue that I see here is that when you were promoting things of this nature, most of the sports world turned off. And the reason why I say it is I understand it's a civic responsibility that I think all of us need to do. I understand that. But unfortunately, the way the sports political landscape is, fans look at politics as this isn't sports. This is a turnoff. It's basically, they look at it like, say if my wife is watching Dancing with the Stars and all of a sudden we have Aaron Donald sacking Joe Burrow in the middle of the dance floor. She would want to turn the channel to something else. That is what will happen here. Hopefully it sparks something positive, obviously, but if it doesn't, I will not be shocked. Going to the Diamond out in LA, right-hander Walker Buehler unfortunately will have to go under the knife once again. He has a season-ending elbow surgery on tap. Now, the Dodgers announced Monday before the start of their 4-game series with the Brewers that the surgery will have to be performed this week. Now, the manager, Dave Roberts, had this to say about the unfortunate incident. Quote, it's certainly a blow. We're better with Walker on our ball club, but there's nothing we can do about it. I still believe we have enough guys to prevent runs to get through October, but yeah, we wanted him to be a part of this. Close quote. And I think what is going to hurt them even further is that even though the Dodgers are the best team in the National League, there has been cries for them to get more arms because seemingly they have to outscore teams, and that can be a danger, especially against teams like the Yankees and the Astros, who do have the pitchers and the pitching to quiet those bats. But we'll see. But to Walker, God bless you, sir. I hope everything goes well with you. And come on back as soon as you possibly can, man, because the game will be missing you. Back to the NBA, and we're going to Philly, where Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers have settled the grievance that he filed to recoup a portion of last year's salary. Now, Simmons was seeking a portion of the nearly $20 million that was withheld after he refused to suit up for the Sixers until he got traded February of this year. The guard was eventually traded for a package deal headlined by James Harden going to Philly. Now, the person who talked did so on the condition of anonymity. Let me see if I can put this in the best way I possibly can. Ben Simmons reaching any sort of agreement with the Sixers. I'm having a hard time. Oh yeah. Really? You mean to tell me you want to settle with this guy? Come on. You gotta be kidding me. All right. All right. He did not suit up purposely and he did not play. How difficult is that? To me, it's not. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that this guy actually held the team hostage and succeeded. That's really the best way I could put it. He held the team hostage and succeeded. All right, let me talk about something else before I derail the whole show. Going back to the diamond and staying in the state of Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh Pirates infielder Rodolfo Castro, he decided to be active and he slid. But unfortunately, when he slid, he dove head first. Something popped out of his pocket. And what popped out of his pocket? It was a cell phone. Gosh, you can't write this stuff if you tried. Rodolfo, a cell phone. You carried a cell phone onto the field, my man?
You for real?
Okay. All right. A whole team got penalized for doing similar things. You decide to bring a cell phone onto the field, and of course, you forgot it until you dove head first in a slide. Okay, well, now that makes sense to me. Oh my gosh. Okay. A for style points, F for even thinking about you can bring phones onto the field. Lord, and you probably gonna get asterisks named after you because, well, that is what the Astros were accused of because of incidents and toys like your cell phone, Rodolfo. Oh boy. Staying on the East Coast and going back to the NBA, but this time we're going to Mr. BDB. Kevin Durant. Well, he and the Brooklyn Nets decided to patch things up, sing Kumbaya, and they're going to walk down the yellow brick road together, at least for the 2023 season. That's wonderful. I'm going to detail everything about him and Kyrie Irving and as the Nets turn, otherwise known as the Brooklyn Nets, next week when I put them upon further review. But I'm glad that Durant, you came to your senses because nobody was going to, the Nets were going to trade you for somebody. They were going to ask for the farm. And you, sir, I hate to say it, you're not really worth it, but keep dreaming. Now, back to the NFL, going down to Carolina and Cleveland a bit. Former quarterback for the Browns, Baker Mayfield, now current Panthers quarterback. He was mentioned by the current Browns defensive end, Myles Garrett, as the two teams, the Panthers and the Browns, will meet up in week 1 in September. Now, he, of course, wasn't surprised that Mayfield was named the starter for the Panthers going into their week 1 matchup. However, he wanted to quell that there really isn't any animosity between him and any other members of the Browns and Mr. Mayfield. And he went on to say, quote, he went to say, quote, did I expect him to win that job? Yeah. I didn't really think about it, whether he won it or not. I knew he had to play the Panthers. So I'm happy that he won it. I don't wish any ill upon him, but I wasn't expecting to be looking at any other quarterback. Close quote. Memo to David Tepper. Nobody was thinking that Sam Darnold was going to start at quarterback. Only you thought that you were trying to slip anything underneath the rug. You traded for the man, and he was exponentially better than Sam Darnold. Where is the surprise and shock? Oh my gosh. I sometimes think people smoke too much stuff in the booth and in the luxury boxes. Speaking of people smoking too much, on a diamond, but in the stands. Who says baseball isn't the best time to get a haircut? Yes, you heard me correct. In a game earlier last week, the Yankees seemed to be on their road to simply going through an August swoon when, in a 3-1 deficit going into the 8th inning, a barber decided to take out his tools, walk to a customer in the stands, and he was armed with a comb and a spray bottle. He had the barber cape with him, and he went to work. So you mean to tell me it's so bad in Yankee Stadium? It's so bad in the Bronx that you have to take out clippers and shears and a barber cape and give Yankees fan a haircut.
Come on!
Oh my gosh. Sometimes the stuff just writes itself. Yankees fan getting a haircut. Why is El Jefe? I'm going to address this to the Yankee fan that I do know that's close to me. Why is El Jefe? Explain to me why Yankees fan decided in Yankee Stadium to get a haircut. Let me end this. This concludes headlines. Now, when I come back, I have a treat for you because there's not just one. There are two DOLTs of the week. We'll be right back.
This is a BS3 Network presentation.
I want to show that attainability. I want to show the accessibility of this kind of lifestyle.
From social media to having conversations with friends and family, you always have to put on face and say face.
What brings a smile to my face is the one person that totally believes in me, and that's my beautiful wife, Jody.
I just had to stop because I didn't value myself. I didn't love myself. And it's like, I have to learn to love myself.
Changing the world one conversation at a time. This is Revelations. Are you looking for something to do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 Network that has only 4 words to say to you.
We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready.
The Lunch Break with AJ, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at noon Central.
Welcome back, Cole Johnson, Cole Sports, and let's say hello to the BS3 Network's own Ben Southern III. How you doing, brother? It is great to have you aboard. Now, normally I go in on a subject, so I'm going to formally introduce it this way. I'm going to go in, but I'm also going to award this person with something else. as my man Ivan of the Queen 3 and King and the Forecast podcast comes in and he says, "Go Sports!" That's right, brother. That's right. That's right. So on this portion of Going In, it's not going to be the regular fare. I have to award Mr. Marcel Osuna with the DOLT of the Week. This guy, this honor, or this ignominious honor. So glad you asked. So he decided to drive in the suburb Norcross, Georgia of Atlanta. And he was cruising mighty fast. And he decided to go so fast that he got stopped. And he got thrown in jail. Now, what I don't understand about this guy is that he seems to have not learned his lesson, because this is the same guy who last year got held back and suspended during the run that the Braves made onto winning their first World Series in 26 years because he decided to be heavy-handed with his woman. And it's as if you're seeing this 31-year-old self-destruct right before your very eyes. You realize your team is fighting for their playoff lives. You realize this. As you are looking up at the Mets, you're fighting for your playoff lives, Marcel. But obviously, things are much more important to you. Things such as you being the man. Things such as you getting your speed on, you getting your left foot on. I guess that is more important to you than having your teams back, right? I guess that's what is more important to you. You. That is what's more important. You are more important than the team. You are more important than your freedom. You are more important than your wife or your girlfriend. That's what I am deducing here. And the reason why I can easily deduce this is because you seem to have as much issue with being a citizen that acts right of the along with the law as much as you have prodigious talent. It's not going to get to the point where one day they're going to have to unload you. I'm talking about the Braves, because they can't get value for you. So if you're going to basically be acting like a pimp to a woman last year, and you're going to act like you're going to act like you're one of the NASCAR people this year, well, son, you having an issue staying on the field. How can anybody have trust in you and your abilities, Marcel? How is it possible? Explain this to me, sir. And I'm asking this to you because you have played much longer than I have Major League Baseball. In fact, the next inning I play in Major League Baseball will be the first. But, oh, yeah, I forgot to put this in here. So, yes, he got stopped because he was going too fast. Well, not only did he go too fast, but he blew too hard on the breathalyzer, and he also was arrested for driving under the influence. Oh, my gosh, man. How? How can you be this irresponsible, man? How? It's like I'm at a loss for thought, a loss for words, and a loss for absolute reasoning, because I don't understand how you don't feel as though you can't walk the straight and narrow, because you just feel as though you need to get popped and drive fast this year, and last year you decided to go upside your woman's head. But look, I guess that shouldn't make sense to me, right? It shouldn't. But you know what your situation is? The Inspector Todd in Beverly Hills Cop, when he was talking to Axel Foley, he said it best.
This whole thing stinks to high heaven.
And that is how I feel, sir. Last year, you were accused of domestic violence. Now, I'm not going to say that you were, but you were accused of it and you got suspended for it. This year, you blew more than a .08 on the breathalyzer.
You for real?
While you were behind the wheel. That all basically says to me, sir, that you are one that runs afoul of the law.
What?
One that is a miscreant.
What?
One that is borderline a cretin.
What?
One that is borderline somebody who doesn't give a crap about anybody but himself. I'm going to say this to you. I don't know if your teammates have. I don't know if your organization has. I'm not sure if your manager has. I'm not sure if your owner has. I'm not sure if your general manager has. Hopefully somebody in your family has. I'm going to say it to you. With the domestic violence understanding of last year and the DUI of this year, you, sir, are a danger. You, sir, are a danger not just to yourself, and not just to your woman, you're a danger to society, man. Man, I got my wife driving down these streets, and I'm driving down these streets. I don't want to have anybody who feels as though they are the king of the earth, but they cannot control the wheel because they happen to be drunk. None of that is funny. You, I won't say rich, but you are well off enough to where if you are sauced to that degree, you call a service to drive you around. Save yourself the time, the headache, and the trouble of risking life and limb and feeling so, oh, I got this under control, and you're inebriated. We need not this any longer. Because this story seems to happen one too many times. An athlete who thinks that, well, I can control everything else. Heck, I can have 4 or 5 beers, get behind the wheel. I can still drive. No, you can't. So you are a mature man's age now, Marcel. It's time for you to stop thinking that you are a teenager or you're a college age guy. Start thinking maturely, because you owe yourself and your family and your teammates, let alone the fans, you owe all of them to be healthy, to be upright, and to be of sober and lucid thinking. This reckless thinking has to go. Whether you want it to go or not, whether you think you have a problem or not. Because it's going to be more than just, I can't get on the field. That's going to be problematic for you. Straighten this up, Marcel, before you actually do damage, I should say, unless you're going to do even more damage to somebody else, because this can prove to be fatal. And you don't want that. Not in the worst or the best way. You don't want that, man. Get hold of yourself. Now, that's just one. There's going to be another after the break. But, oh, yeah, get ready, because I got more for it. And, Marcel, do the right thing, man. Whenever you feel as though you're a little bit inebriated, call a service. Get a driver. Don't drive yourself, please. Your life is too precious, and everybody else that's around you is too precious for you to be that reckless and that stupid.
When I come back, the DOLT of the week. listening to the classiest sports show on the planet. Call Sports! From the vault, a look back at a key moment in sports history.
August 23rd, 1978. In the hotbed city of Philadelphia, a boy went onward to become one of the brightest superstars the NBA has ever known. Kobe Bean Bryant was born on this date. He was named after a Japanese style of beef, and his middle name was part of his father's nickname, played in the NBA, Joe Jellybean Bryant. When Jellybean was 6, he retired from the NBA and he moved the family to Italy. It was there where Kobe developed a love of soccer and spoke fluent Italian. Now, when he was 13, the family moved back to Philly, and that's where his basketball Jones grew. Going from high school straight to the pros, Kobe was drafted by the Hornets, but was traded the day of the draft to the Lakers, where he would be fast teammates with Shaquille O'Neal. That duo went on to win 3 straight championships, and he made it to the finals one more time with them before they went their separate ways. Now, Kobe went on to win 2 more championships, going to 3 more finals. He won those championships back-to-back years in 2009 and 2010. And he was known for his hard work ethic and tenacity to be the best player on the floor. And after suffering injury, which forced him to literally limp to the finish line in his career, Kobe was a shell of his former self until he gave us one final night to remember.
Man, guys, you know, it's, I can't believe how fast 20 years went by. I mean, this is crazy. To be standing here at center court with you guys, my teammates behind me, and appreciating all this, you know, the journey that we've been on. And all I can do here is just thank you guys. Thank you guys for all the years of support. Thank you guys for all the motivation. Thank you for all the inspiration. You guys will always be in my heart. And I sincerely, sincerely appreciate it. No words can describe how I feel about you guys. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. God, I love you guys. And I love you guys. And Mamba out.
After achieving an Academy Award in retirement, he and his daughter Gianna died in a fiery helicopter crash in January 26th of 2020 in Calabasas, California, where 7 other people also perished. Even though his life was cut short, the memories he left is long. Kobe Bean Bryant, 5-time champion and one of the greatest Lakers of all time, was born on this date in 1978.
From the vault, brought to you by Call Sports.
You have to learn to live with yourself before you can make a commitment of yourself to someone else.
When you go to something that's already structured, like the church, I don't need to go in there thinking I'm the pastor. It's like already one set up, you know what I'm saying?
It just had everything, but I learned, you know what I'm saying? Everything I did, I learned from.
So we look forward to seeing you same time, same place. Know that we love you, God loves you more. Continue to stay safe, do the right thing, stay out of trouble.
Conversation that informs a community. Brothers of Legacy. Every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Discouragement, sorrow, distance, Your arguments cause damage to your family. The hurt leads to divorce. You feel like there is nowhere else to turn. But there is hope for you. That's where we come into play. There is an overcomer that lives inside of you. One ready to take on the world as you leap for joy, living in victory. You'll grow to love yourself and others. There's life after divorce, and you can claim it today. Get Over Divorce, where your new story begins here every Thursday on YouTube and Spreaker.
Welcome back to Cole Sports. Cole Johnson's on the mic. And my man, Victor Locke, is joining me. And I appreciate everything you do on Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. And here, that's right, ready for more sports. That's right, baby. More sports you want, more sports you shall have. Because you now have walked into the second of the two that I have awarded of the DOLT of the Week. Dolt of the Week is sponsored by nobody. The winner, the second winner of this episode's Dolt of the Week is former NFL player and now former color commentator in the NFL, Aqib Talib. Aqib Talib, come on down. You are the next contestant on Why You a Fool. And this is why you're a fool, son. So there was, God, I can't believe I'm about to say what I'm going to say. So there was a youth league game, a youth league football game, as they were starting their season. And this was in the Dallas suburb of Lancaster, Texas. And there were two coaching outfits, of course, one for each team, that was on the field. And so there was some issue with the refereeing and with the coaching. And it was to the point where, unfortunately, somebody decided to brandish an iron, pointed at one of the coaches, and shot him to death. Now, it was told to us that the person who shot the coach, who unfortunately now is deceased, is Aqib's older brother, Yaqub Talib. Now, Yaqub is 39, Aqib is 36. Now, my prayer was that I hope this was something that Yaqub acted on his own, right? So the police department, they issued a press release early in the week, and they were looking for Yaqub. They were looking for him, and they were hoping he would turn himself in, and he did. I will discuss with you what made me immediately apoplectic about this whole thing later. So about a few days later, they show footage of the brouhaha that turned physical, which turned violent. And I'll be doggone who led the charge. It was you, Aqib. You led the charge on this youth football field to have that, I don't know what the heck you want to call it, happen. This tornado of ignorance with children on the field. You started it and your brother ended it. I'm sorry, I'm going to go here. You and your brother are buffoons. And I'm saying this from this standpoint. If you pull this crap on an NFL field, it's reprehensible. But that's with grown men. But we're not talking about you pulling this crap on an NFL field. We're not talking about you pulling this crap on a collegiate field. Heck, we're not even talking about you doing this on a high school field or even a junior high school field. We're talking about children who were 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You pulled this crap on that field. Those children don't need to be introduced to violence like that. None of them do. They don't deserve that. But you don't give a crap because you felt as though you had to be right. Well, you know what, sir? You know what, Aqib? You know what, Yaqub? Somebody is dead right because of you. And that's not what made me angry. No, that is not what made me angry. What made me angry was the fact that Mr. Yaqub decided to say when he turned himself in, I can't believe I'm about to say this, quote, I shot that youth coach and it was for self-defense. Close quote. Self-defense. Self-defense. Fool! You don't self-defend when you pull a gun and no one else does, and you shoot it and you kill somebody. What were you defending yourself from? The fact that he called you out your name? I don't understand that. Help me out, Yaqub. Help me out. Where was it that you needed to defend yourself to the point where you had to pull out a gun and shoot somebody? Because I did not hear the person that you killed, who was a youth football coach. I didn't see him pull a weapon of his own. Because that would be the only time I could say, okay, I understand why you actually brandish your weapon because you saw someone else brandish theirs. No. You wanted to play like you were a part of a Dave Chappelle skit because you saw that a youth football coach that was opposing you was keeping it real, and then you decided to keep it realer. That BS is juvenile stuff. In fact, that's something that the boys that were not much younger than how you acted would pull off. Self-defense. You must have been doing lines to actually have us think that you were defending yourself. I'm sorry, I don't see it. And I'm getting right back to Aqib. As Victor says, he could have gotten somebody else killed due to the panic they caused. Thank you, sir. That's right. And I see you, A Pizzle, with a Z. That's right, baby. Oh, and I'm ready to give you more, but my man. You, Aqib. Yes, you, the one who decided to make Michael Crabtree a punk, and you decided to act like you were Debo, and you snatched his chain from him, and you felt big, bad, and bold because you were this bully. I've seen many of you. Even when I was on the football field, I saw many of you. You acted tough and you tried to put forth this bravado, and you were the type that people who were on the football field, even if they were teammates, they wanted to bury you under the dirt. But I wanted to believe that you got that stuff straight, that you decided to turn a new leaf. You decided to actually be a more productive member to society. And then when I saw you in the TV booth, I think it was last year, I said, okay, it looks like he wants to turn the page to another chapter in his career, and he's going to have to be in a way that he's going to be. And then I actually was happy for you when you got the color job for Thursday Night Football for Amazon. I was thinking, okay, you on your way up. I'm liking the moves you're making. I don't like this move, though. What business did you have to start the fight? You started that mess. And it's like what Victor aptly said. It could have been worse. And it almost could not be any worse because this very program, this show airs, which is the BS3 Network. There are many of my fellow content creators, many of the BS3 Network personalities who have an affiliation and who have a tie, an emotional connection with the man that Aqib Talib shot and killed. And you know where everybody's heart, and I'm talking about to a man and woman with the BS3 Network family and myself, you know where my heart and their heart went to? Yes, it went to the deceased coach. And yes, it went to his widow. But it went to his 9-year-old son who saw you shoot him, kill him. Come on, Yaqub. You had to subject that 9-year-old boy to see his father be dead. And you say that's self-defense. That's a bunch of crap, man. That is not self-defense. That is self-cowardice. You don't pull that crap in front of children. I was taught this when I was young, man, when I was that boy's age and younger. My father said to me, son, if you have an issue with somebody, settle it with these before you settle it with this. Because guaranteed, you'll be able to maneuver. Even if you lose the fight, you'll be able to maneuver. Now, I'll make it even prettier because it was actually said in the movie Friday when Pops addressed Craig when he said, quote, now, you don't have to go get a piece. Just get these and these. You use these to settle your disputes. You win some, you lose some. But no matter what, you live to fight another day. Close quote. What you started, Aqib, and what you finished, Yaqub, you both should be ashamed of yourselves because your actions are a direct response, and it was directly attributed to producing a widow, and not one and not two, but 3 children who will forever grieve the loss of a young man. He was 43, but he still was a young man. A young man who was considered venerable in his community, who was considered a wonderful light to his community, who was considered an upstanding and outstanding man. But you didn't care because you wanted to be dead right. Well, congratulations. And when you try to do the weak, piddly defense of you doing this as self-defense, let me know how that goes. Because I guarantee you should be locked away for a long time, Yaqub. And Aqib, you may not need to spend as much time as your brother, but you need to be brought up on charges too. I'm sorry, because that is irresponsible of both of you. I'm almost ashamed. Almost ashamed that y'all are black men. Because the black men I know, they conduct themselves with decorum, with class, and respect. And what you did was utterly disrespectful. And just like Mr. Wonderful in Shark Tank, Both of you are dead to me. Game 163, dead? Upon further review, is next.
There's a 100% chance of a laugh thunderstorm. 4 men with different viewpoints take a movie, show, or documentary and review it uncensored, unfiltered, uncompromised, with no holds barred. Join BS3, Wilkes, King Doc, and H-Rap B as they take on Hollywood their own way. BS3 Network proudly presents The Forecast, where H-Rap B always predicts,
if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
live every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
For Steph Curry, Tim Anderson, Yordan Alvarez, and it's caught. Deebo Samuel with the catch. Michael Jordan can sense the throw. Just got the king.
BS3 Network. The hottest of hot takes. The coldest of cold hard facts. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Weekdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure. Do you want to watch this episode commercial-free and uncensored, plus have exclusive access to content you won't see anywhere else? Well, now you can. Cole Sports is now on Patreon. Become a patron today.
Coming up on the next installment of Cole Sports, upon further review, we'll go to the soap opera As the Nets Turn. You'll know what that's about when you see it, but that's for next week. For today and for this week, I got to give it up to Cole World out in the chat. VLock83, one of my homeboys, he says, sadly, the toxicity of youth sports on behalf of the parents has been going on for years. Yes, I agree with you. And, of course, this is one of the people I'm talking about, BS3. My man says, horrible decision. And he asked the question that I am continuously will ask. Why bring a gun to a kid's football game? Yes. And Vlog says, amazing segment, sir. You echoed all of my sentiments and more. Thank you, my man. I appreciate that. I know. And I appreciate you for saying that. That means more than you know. Enough about hoodlums. Let's talk about something that is near and dear to my heart in terms of what I used to miss about baseball, and I'm going to miss now. Game 163, or the tiebreaker game. Now that Major League Baseball collectively bargained, that's going to be no more. And that's unfortunate. But I had to take a trip down memory lane as to what Game 163 meant and what it'll always mean to me, and I hope it means the same to you. So I put Game 163 being no more upon further review.
Game 163. It has had a strange route to today. It began as a forerunner to the ALCS, American League Championship Series and the NLCS National League Championship Series, as the pennant was decided by a best of three. Once things settled into play, Major League Baseball decided to have a winner-take-all 9-inning affair should two teams in a league before 1969 and a division after 1969 were tied with each other going into the playoffs. The premise was simple. The winner advanced to the playoffs. The loser went home. With the flip of a coin until 2008, two teams that were tied going into Game 163, or the tiebreaker game, staged a 9-inning war. Starting in 2009, home field advantage was decided between which two teams had the better head-to-head record against the other. The advent of the wildcard play-in game, which has blossomed into the wildcard round, diluted the overall impact of Game 163. However, it was still special to behold. After all, it's extra baseball when you least expect it. Two teams battled all year long only to be tied as the season ended. That is something spectacular. It has happened officially 16 times. The first time we had extra baseball was during the 1946 season. The October before Jackie Robinson called Brooklyn home, they were tied with the St. Louis Cardinals. In one of four scenarios, all of them were in the National League, the pennant was decided in a best-of-3 format. Even though the Dodgers had home field advantage, the Cardinals swept the Dodgers en route to a World Series victory over the Red Sox in 7 games. The other 3 times it was a best-of-3 in that time period, the Dodgers were involved. They swept the Milwaukee Braves to win their first World Series championship as the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1959, and they lost a heartbreaker to the San Francisco Giants, losing in 3, concluding their first season at Dodger Stadium. The most memorable best-of-3 took place in 1951, when both the Giants and Dodgers played in the New York metropolitan area. You may remember how this series ended in the Polo Grounds, right? The 1951 World Series saw the Giants lose to the Yankees in 6. The 1962 World Series saw the Giants lose to the Yankees in 7. The first American League Game 163 scenario took place in 1948, when the Guardians, then called the Indians, turned back the Red Sox challenge on their way to a World Series championship. The very next American League Game 163 scenario, 1, involved the Yankees, 2, playing their arch-rival Red Sox, 3, took place in 1978, 4, was the first time Game 163 was technically ever played when both leagues played 162 games in a season, and 5 was for the division, not the league pennant. Oh yeah, and this one was remembered by Bucky Dent's contribution.
Deep to left. Yastrzemski will not get it. It's a home run. A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2. Bucky Dent has just hit his 5th home run of the year into the screen. And look at that Yankee bench, led by Bob Lemon.
They went on to claim the World Series later that month. There was the 1980 NL West Game 163 between the Dodgers and the Astros, where Joe Negro pitched the best game of his career, with the Dodgers taking it on the chin to the Astros 7-1 before losing to the Phillies in 5 in the NLCS. The Mariners destroyed the Angels 9-1 in the 1985 AL West Game 163 matchup and won their ALDS matchup against the Yankees before losing to the Indians/Guardians in the ALCS. 1995 was the first year Major League Baseball played an American League and a National League Divisional Series round. Then we had a couple of 163 affairs that decided the league's wildcard team. In 1998, the Cubs bested the Giants before being swept by the Braves in the NLDS. In 1999, The Mets shut out the Reds 5-0 and even got to the NLCS before losing to the Braves 4-2. The 2007 NL wildcard needed a game 163 again as the Rockies outlasted the Padres 9-8 in 13. They swept their way to the World Series, where they got swept by the Red Sox. The following 2 years was for the AL Central title, and both games were decided by 1 run. In 2008, the White Sox shut out the Twins in the lowest scoring game in game 163 history. They went on to lose in 4 to the Rays in the ALDS. In 2009, the Twins redeemed themselves and defeated the Tigers 6-5 and 12 before being swept by the Yankees in the ALDS. The wild card for the AL was contested once again in 2013 as the Rays beat the Rangers 5-2 before they had to bow out to the Red Sox in the ALCS, and it took 4 games to do so. And then there's 2018. We had a special year in game 163 lore. The Brewers beat the Cubs to win the NL Central title in a game 163 tilt 3-1. They eventually lost to the Dodgers in the NLCS in the 7-game tilt. Meanwhile, the Dodgers and the Rockies also needed a game 163 to decide the NL West. The Dodgers claimed the title with a 5-2 victory over the Rockies, which meant the Cubs and the Rockies both lost their way to a winner-go-home wildcard game, which the Rockies won. Meanwhile, the Dodgers advanced all the way to the World Series, where they fell to the Red Sox in 5 games. So why are we talking about game 163? When Major League Baseball was in a lockout, they collectively bargained. The powers that be decided to expand the playoff format from 8 to 12. That now means we have 3 divisional winners and 3 wildcard teams from each league. Because of the new arrangement, the tiebreaker game is no more. It will now be decided by head-to-head record between the 2 or more teams in each league, should they be tied at the end of the season. It is like how the NFL does things with 2 teams which are tied for a wild card or a divisional championship. Major League Baseball will now do the same. So that means no more shots heard round the world. No more Bucky effing Dent. No more destruction of a team that held an 11-game lead on August 3rd, only to go home 2 months later. And no more miracle run after winning a 13-inning affair in game 163 to go on to the World Series. And no more 1 game on the field to decide who wins the division and who goes home. Now, the weight's all on the regular season. And another tradition that set Major League Baseball apart from the rest of professional sports dies a quiet death. A game that is trying to keep up with the Joneses is slowly but surely losing its identity, 1 single pitch at a time.
Now, if you feel compelled to donate to the show, go to cash.app/$host That's cash.app/$host Cole Johnson. Thank you so much for tuning in. That is all my time. And for all of us here at Cole Sports, I'm Cole Johnson. And this is with the Z, Cole Sports!
Thank you for tuning in to Cole Sports. To download this episode, go to Spreaker and type Cole Sports with a Z. For apparel, go to Spring and type Cole Sports VIP Boutique. That's with a Z. To reach Cole Johnson, go to flowcode.com/page/host Cole Johnson. This has been a Comey Media Incorporated presentation.